Hello everyone. Today I've come to you with the 2021 International Booker Prize winner, of course, David Diop, and his work At Night All Blood is Black. I don't know whether you can see it or not. It is just an e-copy that I read. At Night All Blood is Black. Now, this book is translated by Anna Moshovakis, and with this particular honor, David Diop becomes the first French novelist to win this award. And he has of course written two novels, but this is the first novel which has got translated into English. Now, talking about this year's shortlist, of course, we had six works. We did have novels, short stories, even non-fictional works. When we ceased to understand the world is a non-fictional work. So I did not go through all of them, but then three of them. And what I felt was the whole of the list did have some sort of an eerie atmosphere prevailing throughout, in a sense, especially while I was reading the dangers of smoking in bed, which did have some sort of a ghostly thing at the very beginning itself, the ghost coming in kind of things. So the list did have a sort of an uncanny atmosphere prevailing throughout, and you did have the whole of the list was filled with trauma, with disturbances, kinds of things, memories, everything was there. So this was quite, be it In Memory of Memory, The Dangers of Smoking in Bed, and even the non-fictional work When We Cease to Understand the World. Yeah, of course. Now, coming to this particular novel that we're talking about, At Night All Blood is Black, this is a very riveting account of friendship, of revenge, of violence, of war, all these things coming together. And what I felt was there are three quotations just at the very beginning from Montaigne: "We embraced each other by our names," taken from Of Friendship. And then you have another from Pascal, "Who Thinks Betrays." Then you have another from Ambiguous Adventure, and two simultaneous voices, one long, other short. What I felt was that this whole novel is an explication of all these quotations coming. And to talk about this particular novel, as I told you before, this is a very compelling account of friendship. Which is caught between what you see questions or problematizing of what it means to be human. On the one hand, what it means to be bound by duty consciousness. When you see the first half of the novel, we see that the atmosphere is really bizarre and scaring sort of an atmosphere. The ambience that is provided in the novel is really scary. And it's like what do you say for that? You just it's horrific to read sometimes. All those images coming to you, like the images of this. What do you say? Disemboweling of enemy soldiers. At the very beginning itself, you have the disemboweling of Madame Diop, who is the two characters. The protagonist is, of course, Alpha Diai, and his you have the memory of his friend Madame Diop. And at the very beginning itself, Madame Diop's whole body is disemboweled by the enemy soldiers, and both of them are Senegalese soldiers, chocolate soldiers. Actually, that is their title, chocolate soldiers. That is they are almost 20 years of age, and they are soldiers fighting for France in World War I. And we see at the very beginning Madame Diop's, as I told you, whole of the body getting disemboweled by the enemy soldiers, and Alpha sitting beside. And it's really scary in the sense that Madambe is requesting to him to kill him, to just kill him. That's it. But then he is not able to do because of this friendship, because of this concept of this mercy killing coming in, because he's so bound with his duty, the consciousness that he has about his duty, that he should not kill somebody like that, and he lets him suffer like that till his death, and then he carries his body to the trench. So you have this trench atmosphere, you have this war raging everywhere, the captains making use of these Senegalese soldiers because they do have the savagery on their face, and they're able to attack. I mean, they could unleash all the savagery, but then the madness should of course come out, but not in the form of, I mean, you have this question of madness where I'll just you can be mad, of course, you can be mad, but then madness should be very temporary. I just quote, yes, I understood God's truth that on the battlefield they wanted only fleeting madness, madmen of rage, madmen of pain, furious madmen, but only temporary ones, no continuous madmen. As soon as the fighting ends, we are to file away our rage, our pain, our fury. Pain is tolerated. We can of course bring pain to our home on one condition, that we should keep it to ourselves. But rage and fury cannot be brought back to trench. So this is the question of madness. How far can you be mad? See, the soldiers, how far? I mean, the soldiers are not allowed to have permanent madness, which you see in Alpha Diai. He actually couldn't. The only question that he asked when Madame Diop was suffering with this whole of the inside out, I mean, whole of his insides, the intestines, everything was got disemboweled, and he was sitting there beside him, and the only thing that Alpha could ask was, what person, who did this to you? I mean, I just want to know the exact figure. But then the only thing Madame could say, that it's just blue eyes that I remember and nothing else. Please just leave them. Just actually try to just kill me, so that that would be a good riddance for me from this whole life. But then he's not able to do, and then after his death he has all this consciousness coming in. I mean, he had to he couldn't kill him, a kind of thing. On the one hand, he had this friendship, and he should not have made him suffer, and then he began to revenge upon. When it's really a kind of what your whole blood gets curdled, right? It's really scary to see a person, Alpha, going to the enemy side, getting one person each day, disemboweling him, standing there by his side, putting all his insides out, killing him, the killing that he couldn't, the killing that he couldn't do to his friend. He just does it for the enemies, and takes revenge upon all the blue-eyed people and in the enemy side, and he goes on killing. It's kind of ritual that has become that probably kind of a ritual it has turned out to be for him. We get a sort of, what is it, he goes on killing his enemy soldiers, and after killing, what he does is he severs their hands and brings it home, and tries to preserve it. I mean, salting it and keeping it there, drying it and keeping it like you keep dried fish. That is what he does, and this is how he revenges. So you have this novel, I mean, a beautiful narrative, a very, very, very spectral sort of a narrative about, or I mean, a very scary sort of a narrative about revenge on the one hand. But when it comes to the second part of the novel, you do not have a division of second and first part, but then if we divide it that way, you go back to his childhood, not his childhood and his adolescence, where he had his relationship with his lover. But you see, you have this conflicting. I mean, on the one hand, you had this hatred raging. On the other hand, you have this love, I mean, to its brim, the relationship with his mother, etc., etc. So what happens is, coming back, what happens is, at first every soldier was quite happy with this killing and severing of hands, once, twice, but then thrice, then the fourth time. People begin to, I mean, his own group begin to abandon him. People begin to consider him strange. People begin to ostracize him. I mean, they began to, or they labeled him as the soldier sorcerer, who is the devourer of people's inside, a dem. That is how people began to label him, and people began to be scared of him. So this whole novel is a narrative of revenge, of a tale of shock and brutality and violence. To see the fear in the enemy's face, right? And you become so happy when you see fear in the enemy's face. These are the things that runs along the novel. And what I felt was that there is always two voices, right? I mean, Mademba, I mean, you have the voice of revenge and you have the voice of love. You have the double inside you. And what I felt is this Madembe and Alpha does supplement each other and does complete each other. Seeing that Alpha is strong, handsome, courageous, whereas Madembe is, of course, good at heart, but ugly and weak and fragile. And of course, he really works hard to get to fight for his own country. After all these sorts of violence and revenge and hatred and war and all these things, you have the second part taken to the rear. He was taken to a rear, a medical therapeutic sort of a place. Probably he was slipping on to madness, revenging the death of his friend, probably, and he was taken there to rear to take rest. And it is then that he goes back to the memory lane, and to his native place of Gandiol. That is the name of the native place. And as I told you, the relationship that he has with his beloved Fari Thiam, about the friendships that he has there, the romance, the lovemaking, the family, his mother. You do have that trauma of the little child leaving his, the mother leaving him and going in search of her father and brothers, and probably that would be lying as a sort of trauma inside him. So you have this relationship that he has with Madame, local feuds and fights. And so what I would like to say is that this is really a compelling read and really a must read, in the sense that a novel where there is a beautiful mixture of the horrific, the traumatic and the aesthetic brought together, the bizarre on the one side and the creative on the other side, a very beautiful mixture of the beauty or beauty on the one side and the spectral on the other side. In a sense, this is a beautiful narration of war, of hate, of love, of what it means to be human, of our thinking process, all sorts of beautiful things coming together. So I would like to recommend you to read this. It's really a very compelling read. Thank you all.